guys, Mackenzie back with another mobility session for you. Again, we're working from the feet all the way up to the head, and so today we're going to do hip mobility today. So, quick little information on why hip mobility is so important. Firstly, it's kind of the center of the body, basically. It's if you think of where sort of your biggest bones are, that's where our biggest bones are. So that's what's kind of taking the brunt of the force that we're applying through our bodies, basically. And then if you think about what a lot of us do in our common day is we do a lot of sitting, especially maybe at a desk, a computer, we're typing. So I take muscles that when I run are up here like this, fully extended, maybe even leaning forward. I take those muscles and I'm taking away, over 50% of their range of motion. See what happens when I sit down too? I'm wanting to slouch into it right away. So sitting is bad. We're going to try to minimize it as much as we can, basically. So we're doing hip mobility today. A couple things about the hips is that the hip is a ball and socket joint. So femur sits in a socket and then it's going to rotate all around. So not like a knee, where all my knee does is hinge. So my knee just comes here and then comes here and that's it. Okay, my hip is going to move all around sort of 360 degrees. So we have to stretch and work on mobilizing the internal rotators, the muscles that pull our hip in. We have to work on mobilizing the external rotators. We have to work on the flexors of the hip, okay? And then we have to work on the extensors of the hip as well too, basically. So huge, super important part of the body. And again, there's kind of lots of things to think about, basically. Some common problems with the hip is the hip can lead, and being tight in our hips can lead to a lot of lower back pain. So correcting that can fix our lower back pain, which is huge for us. And then, like I said, also it's something that gets super stiff because we're sitting all the time. So let's go ahead, let's get into it. We're going to start off with the front. So we're going to start off with the hip flexors, okay? And I'm going to show you, this is one that I did in my knee program as well too. So again, everything's kind of connected, but if you're doing the hips and you want to work on mobilizing the hips, then we got to do this one. And what I'm going to show you guys today is I'm going to show you kind of a warm-up activation set that you can do with the hips. And then if you're looking at trying to improve your range of motion, more for the long term basically, then we take a lot of these stretches and we hold them more for 1 to 2 minutes. So first one we're going to do is we're just going to lunge forward here. As I'm lunging forward, what I'm looking for is I'm looking for a stretch in my back leg in this hip flexor. And in order to get it, what I got to do is I got to squeeze my bum. By squeezing your glutes, it's going to push the hips forward, okay? And then that's what's going to give me that length in the hip flexor. So I'm lunging forward here, and then I'm going to come back, and I'm going to lunge forward here, then I'm going to come back, and I'm going to do 5 of those like that. So lunging forward, squeezing in the glute 5 times. Okay, that one hits the hip flexors right there. So that's a huge one, awesome. Again, if I wanted to increase range of motion, then I'm just going to take that and I'm going to go a little bit longer. Now, something else that you might want to do with that is you might want to do that on an angle as well too. And the reason we want to go on an angle is because now I'm starting to get some of those internal rotators, the adductors of the legs. So instead of me just going straight ahead here, what I can also do is I can lunge and I can move my leg out to the side. Now I'm going to start to get some of the muscles on the inside of that leg as well too. Same thing. Just kind of moving forwards and then coming back. And then big thing is I want to think about squeezing the glutes while I'm doing it as well too. So that's our second one right there. Then from that one, what you want to do is to hit that a little bit better, you may come standing. We go to a nice wide stance position and then we go side lunges here. And now we're sort of getting into the adductor. So I'm going to shift my weight here. I'm going to come over to my right leg. Okay, so my left leg is unloaded. And I'm looking for a pull in through the groin. And if I'm warming up, all I'm going to do is just floss side to side here. So I'm just working side to side. And I'm trying, as I'm coming across, I'm trying to stay nice and low here. Okay, moving back. I would do 5 a side of those, 10 of those before. Okay, from there, you're going to go into a frog stretch. So this one kind of hits those adductors again as well too. I'll show us from the side, and then I'll show us from the front. So I'm here, my knees are out, my feet are out. Don't let your feet come together on this one. Keep the feet out here. And then from here, we're working our hips forward, working back. Working forwards, working back, just like this here. Working forwards. We're going to do 5 of those there. This is a great one to improve the depth of your squat as well too. Those adductors can restrict us from getting down in that squat position. So I'm going to do 5 of those there. From the front, it's just here with those knees out, okay? Knees are outside the hips, sinking back and coming forward. That one is called the frog right there. Again, if we're wanting to go for longer term range of motion improvements, we're going to take those stretches, we're going to hold them, okay? So more like 60 seconds to 2 minutes on that. When you guys are done there, then what I want us doing is you're going to do the exact same thing, but you're going to take one leg out. So now I'm going out here with my right leg, my left knee is stacked here, and then I'm going to bring my hips forward and sinking back, and then 5 of those there. This one you may even start to feel in the low back. You can even keep the hands on the floor and get the low back involved a little bit as well too. Really like this one for getting those hips going. And I'll show us from the side here. So I would have one knee here, one leg coming out. I'm just like this, sinking the bum back, coming forwards, sinking the bum back right there, and then coming forwards just like that, okay? From there then, what it's nice to get into is, something a little bit more standing that's going to stretch out those hip flexors. So we're going to bring ourselves up. This is kind of how we move. So from here, I'm going to go into a lunge step, okay, here. And then from here, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to have my right leg up, my left leg is back, so just like this, okay? And from here, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to step back with my right leg, and then I'm going to step up with my left leg. So I step back with the right leg, step up with the left, and what I'm trying to do with my back leg is I'm trying to press that heel back so I get nice length. Now you can see, now I'm starting to get in more of a running position, so it's an awesome way to warm us up. Again, if I don't think about it, my knee's going to bend, so I really got to think about pressing the heel back. So just coming like that, 5 aside. Great one to get those hip flexors involved. Then from there, this is one of my favorites, we're going to do a hip floss. So we've hit front of the hips, we've hit the internal rotators. Now we're going to get more into kind of the external rotators and into the glutes. So straight ahead, I have my right foot in front, my left leg behind. What I'm going to do is I'm going to try to bring my hips down as close as I can to my right ankle, and my right knee is going to fall out to the side while I do it. Now I'm keeping that right foot flat, and so what I'm doing is I'm working myself forward, working myself back, working forwards, working back, and you can see that knee is just falling out to the side, kind of a curling position basically. So from the side it looks like this here. I'm working forwards, working back, working forwards, working back, just like that. We're 5 of those there like that. Now, when you are done that, you're going to go to the same thing, but you're going to go here, you're going to open that foot up off the ground. So now this one just gets a little bit more intense, and it almost feels like, you got to watch how intense you are if you're doing this before workout, but it almost feels like you're ripping your hips apart, which you kind of are basically. So 5 times there, going forwards and back right there, okay? That one is called the hip floss. From there, you may want to then just go into a squat position and then see how those hips are moving. So if we did a really nice job of mobilizing them, then it's nice to just come down and then just do some squats, dropping our bums down, okay? Sit through there, maybe 5 squats like that. And when you've done that, then especially if we're working on a squat, if it's a workout day, we may go down in that squat position, and then we may work on pressing our knees out here, just like that, keeping our chests up, working the hips by moving those knees out. And then something else that's great to hold in the squat is then rotations. So coming here and then down and locking. So I lock my knee, I lock this knee with my arm, open up and then rotate and coming back, and then 5 aside there like that. So that's kind of your pre-workout hip mobility set. Again, if we're doing that as kind of more, longer term range of motion, trying to see some huge benefits in the long term from it, have a lasting benefit, and we want to do it after our workout, hold them for prolonged stretches. And then the last one that I'm going to show you is my favorite glute piriformis stretch right here. This one, I've mentioned it in some of my other videos. This one will fix your low back pain. If you say, oh, my SI is bugging me, it's because our piriformis can get tight and locked up, or it gets locked up and then doesn't let that SI move. So what I'm doing is I'm pulling my right knee up into my chest. I'm going to take my left hand, I'm going to grab onto my shin just above my ankle. I'm going to pull that foot across my body. I keep my left shoulder down and I'm pulling that foot up and across to the opposite side. So I'm going here now. And here what I'm doing is I'm going to hold here for that 1 minute to 2 minutes. When I'm done holding for that 1 to 2 minutes, then I'm going to go ahead and then I'm going to floss it. So now I'm working up and across here and then back, up and across here and then back, just like that. We want to just work it out. Now this one you can hit all of the glutes on. The number one stretch that I always see people doing for their glutes is they're bringing a knee up like this, maybe on their other knee, and then they're doing this stretch here. So this one's okay, but what I find with this one is we're not hitting our piriformis, so it doesn't get that SI the same way as when I take my leg and I pull it across to my opposite shoulder, okay? So that's your hip mobility right there, guys. Fix low back pain with that one and improve your hips. Correct what those nasty chairs do to you, okay? And give that a try a couple times a week if you know you're tight in the hips, and do it before your workouts, okay? See ya.